What's up? It's your boy, Marcus the Money Man, the Appliance Boss. It's Wednesday. We're live again. Um, so today we're going to be talking about what makes a good CRM. So interesting topic. Interesting topic. So a lot of stuff been going on. First of all, I got my coaching call here. I got you guys here live on YouTube. I kept forgetting to do my reminders. So sorry for y'all out there who did not knew I was doing the coaching call today, but it is on Wednesday. Next week I'll get it right. But CRMs is the goal, right? I know a little bit about it because I've been switching like there is no end. So if anybody knows me, you know that I do not mind changing my mind or changing anything for that matter. All right, here we go. Gotta get my notes up. So so yeah, definitely don't mind changing, but I got a little bit of experience when it comes to CRMs in general, using them within the appliance repair business, outside of the appliance repair business, in other businesses, in real estate, them in healthcare. You use them everywhere, and the best CRM. So people ask all the time, "What's the best CRMs?" The best one that you use. However, at different levels of business, you may not need to overcomplicate yourself with the type of CRM that you have, right? So let's break that down a little bit. Okay, so when I started out, and it was just me, two other techs, we had a basic CRM, someplace where we entered information in. So that's where the phone calls went. Okay, that's where the notes go, where we scheduled a call and we went out and we took care of it. So drawbacks on that is every single we had, there wasn't any search filters for it. So we booked a call, and literally on that booked call, so we were using high level. So literally on that booked call, we would go out on it, and this is back in 2020, so not what it looks like now, but we would have to write the notes about what we were doing there. So it's customizable. So all CRMs are customizable. You make them fit your organization. So what we did was bare necessities. Is the call scheduled? Do we need to order parts? Did they approve the repair um, for before we order the parts? And then do we have to go back out for a return? And did we complete the call? And then somewhere later in that, so we have like 5 statuses at the beginning. And then somewhere down the line with that, we added another status: was the bill paid? So it's a key thing. So when you're going out, it's just you, maybe another technician. You can keep up with the work orders. So if you're doing in between the two of you guys 12 to 20 calls a day, then yeah, especially if you're doing COD, you're finishing the calls, you're collecting the money, you're closing out the calls, right? Now, when you have somebody who works for you, then now you're gonna have to pay them that, and you want to keep track of that. So it's kind of easy. It's like, all right, did I do the call? No. Did they do the call? Yes. Makes sense, right? So it's easier to keep track. Even when you have two other people that work with you, they have their own work order queues. They're putting their notes in. Did they complete the call? Did they get paid? And you're going through those work orders, and it starts to take time. So when you get to about 3 techs and you start going through all of the work orders in your CRM just to make sure all the notes are right from a very basic CRM, then without any automations, without any queues, without anything to help replicate your workflow, that task just becomes large, and you have hours and hours and hours of work that you're going to be doing just to keep up with everything. And eventually, if you take a day off, if you get sick, if you have something happen, you're going to get behind, and then it's a cascading effect. And then at that point, it's hard for you to bring somebody in to hire, because now you can't really hire because it's so many things that have happened in the past that you have to address, because maybe you let something slide for a little bit longer than what it normally should go, or um, it's tons of reason why. But at that stage, that 1 to 3, you can kind of manage it. When you get up to 3 and you're heading towards 4 or 5, it is impossible to manage without sophisticated CRM. So sophisticated CRMs, what are we talking about? We're talking, uh, if you guys got any commercials, you see the jobbers, you see the house call pros. If you're watching the service gurus out there, you're seeing service titans. Are the platforms that had their like box programs that have templates built around different service industries that for the level of 5 to 7, you can almost plug and play and you can use their workflow functionality. And sometimes their workflow functionality can improve your business. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about workflow functionality, I'm talking about, well, what is that life cycle of that work order looks like from the time where you're running ads and you're getting leads, they're hitting the landing page, they're calling or they submit a form, they're scheduled, they go out, they pay invoices, they get the customer follow up, the repairs complete, and then the follow up afterwards. So whatever upsells, downsells that you may have, whatever continuity program that you have, membership program that you have, what does that whole thing look like within the system? So these box programs, the house call pros, the jobbers, service titans, they have that built inside of it. And what they do is they allow easy invoicing. They allow customers to be associated real well. So when you do searches for stuff, typically in a good one, you can find things that you need. And most of them have work order statuses. So you can start to put them in certain categories for billing. So as we grew, billing became a big issue. Um, our company, when we started out, we were 80 plus percent, about 6 months, 8 months into it, we're about 85% warranty work. So we didn't really get rolling with Google till about a year in, but or CODs, I should say, with Google. But with this type of work, warranty work, you have it's a lagging bill out, right? And when you have multiple technicians, you got to make sure that everything is built out properly. You got the proper notes in there, the parts. Maybe you're doing factory OEM. You got to make sure you're getting paid for those parts that you had purchased. So, well, not paid, but reimbursed for the parts that you're ordered. You purchased credit. I should say they don't pay you money for the parts; they give you credit. But you got to make sure you get those credits for those parts, and then get paid for the labor that you spent to do the work. And if you don't have one of those sophisticated CRMs, you're not going to survive at all. You're going to miss work orders. It's stuff that's going to run past. You're not going to get paid for, and it's going to be a complete nightmare. So it's almost an investment in that world. So you got to understand: are you a warranty company or are you a COD company? COD companies, you don't need the work order system that is tied to like Dispatch Me or Service Power or things of that nature, because those type of programs, when you're talking about like Rossware or CDA, those specific type of appliance only platforms, they're really made up for the warranty work order companies. Okay. Now, if you do primarily warranty work, outstanding. That's what you need. That's what you need. That's what you need. And you have offshoots of COD where it's not as much. You can have your office kind of manage that piece. But when it's warranty work, you need as much automation as you can. Automation, so I'm talking about from allowing customers to schedule calls to pre-ordering parts, attaching them to the work orders, getting them assigned, the returns, because when you do a lot of warranty work, you're going to know there's going to be, probably 50% of your parts that you're going to have to return every week, right? So that way you don't get behind. But it's so many things. So You make sure you don't miss anything. And plus the bill outs, you can bill out stuff in mass and bulk. Batch bills is what they call them. So you can batch bill stuff out, and it makes one task where you have to do it 10 times. Now you can do that time or that one task for those 10 items one time instead of 10 times. So it makes sense for that. But if you're a COD company where you're creating multiple estimates or you're creating estimates, you're going out, you're collecting service call fees, you're offering other services, additional work orders, stacking for one that you had before because that you offered additional services while you're there, then now you got to have something that's more robust that could account for adding multiple services, account for adding discounts, account for um, your accounting, for instance, right? Where warranty work, there is no such thing as a deposit in that world. COD world, there is deposits. So if your QuickBooks isn't set up or your account, whatever accounting system you're using, isn't set up appropriately, then you won't be able to tell what's a deposit versus what's a closed call, realized income, right? So just because you go out and say the repair is $500 and you take $250 for a deposit, that's not realized income until the job is complete, right? Because they may call them canceled. You may not be able to complete the repair, so you may have to return, refund the money, return the part, etc. So you want to have a way to track that stuff, and that's where a sophisticated CRM comes into play. Okay. So when you're 5 to 7 techs, now when you're 8 techs or larger, you're really looking for not only something that's sophisticated, but something where you can tie in your own analytics to, because it's important to really understand what your technicians are doing. Okay. So when you have multiple technicians, a technician can skate by for a long time, either doing the minimum or barely making it. Okay. And if you have a technician who doesn't speak up or is okay with just being mediocre, then you won't even have an opportunity to help them because you don't have the appropriate analytics to understand what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, where they can improve on, etc. So, and I tell you, these big box programs, they do not have a solution for you, right? Especially us in the appliance repair industry, it is nothing really built for that. Let me think now. It's nothing really built for that with the analytics, right? You can go into chats and see people, argue back and forth all the time on what's the first call complete, right? So think about all the analytics that you track or say that you don't track because you don't have a way to track them in your reporting that you would like to track. So these robust systems, they have these API connections where you can connect to, and as you connect, as you can pull out data, you'll have dashboards to be able to create some reports to help guide where your business is, and you can make the right decisions as you move forward, right? So integrating in your ecosystem, whether it's connecting your stuff to your marketing campaign, connecting it to a dashboard for reporting, being able to pull information out to do a presentation to a business to show how you serve. So, a good example when we go in and we speak with healthcare customers, we like to talk about common failures, the type of equipment that they have, and we paint the picture with stuff that we've done in the past. So if we've worked on a certain washer and they have this washer and we're trying to go in and show our value, we'll have a slick about the washer, how many repairs, what are the common stuff, and we're getting that analytics from our system. Okay. So there's a lot of things that goes into it. CRMs are important, but it just kind of determines where you are and what your needs are and what you want. But at the end, you got to make sure it makes sense financially for you. So it doesn't, to me, make a lot of sense to get something with a whole bunch of bells and whistles and you're not going to use the bells and whistles. But it also doesn't make sense to get something that's bare bones where you're trying to become, the appliance boss of your town. It don't make sense. Okay. So that's all I got to say about CRMs. But that's it, YouTube. I'll see y'all later. Peace.